This is the Well Woman Show. I'm Giovanna Rossi. Today on the show, I'll be talking to Emily Bennett, owner of Baby Blastoff, about how to get what you need by asking for it.
Welcome to the Well Woman Show, where we interview women executives, leaders, and entrepreneurs.
And you're listening to the Well Woman Show,
where motivated women achieve fulfillment and well-being.
You're listening to the Well Woman Show.
Take time for myself by coming to things like Well Woman Drinks.
To be accepting of myself no matter what. Step away from judgment as much as possible.
You're listening to the Well Woman Show.
You're going to be in for a good ride. I don't regret anything. Everything I've ever done, I've learned from it, one way or another, good or bad.
Being a little bit selfish for yourself, put your own oxygen mask on first and then give what's left.
I'm a woman. I would prefer to tell my own story. My story, though it's very personal, is universal.
You're listening to the Well Woman Show. And now your host, Giovanna Rossi.
Hi, Giovanna Rossi here, and welcome to another episode of the Well Woman Show, where I interview women leaders, executives, and entrepreneurs about their lives and their road to becoming and being who they are today. Are you feeling burned out or finding it hard to focus on your goals? Or are you in transition? Well, you're not alone. We all need to activate our superpowers. These are the internal strengths and abilities we all already have but don't use all the time. Superpowers can be cultivated, and they include empathy, love, intuition, courage, and more. Toward the end of the show, in a segment called Superpowers for Success, I ask my guest about her superpowers, and the answers will give you the strength, perspective, and power to live a well-woman life. I'm so happy you're here, so thanks for tuning in. Today's topic is how to get what you need by asking for it. And hopefully, by the end of the show, you'll be inspired to re-examine the messages we send to our children, how you can encourage gender equality at a young age, and learn to find the words to ask for what you need to have better work-life balance. My guest today is Emily Bennett. She's the founder and owner of Baby Blastoff, a children's clothing line aiming to transcend the gender stereotype messages found in most children's clothing. Her clothing is USA-made, unisex, printed from Emily's original artwork, and made from high-quality fabric. Emily sources all materials from local reputable businesses and sustainably manufactures all products in Albuquerque, New Mexico, supporting her community economically. Emily has her master's in education, and prior to starting Baby Blastoff, she taught kindergarten, first and second grade for 5 years. In this episode, Emily and I talk about the challenges of being a solopreneur, how to create a schedule that allows you to nurture your business and your family or personal life, and why it's so important to encourage gender equality at a young age. The free giveaway today is Emily's free If Not Boys Don't Cry, Then What? I love the giveaway because it gives straightforward examples of how you can encourage little boys to be more in touch with their emotions and easily move away from gender stereotypes. Head over to wellwomanlife.com/073show to grab your freebie. Before we begin, I want to let you know that I'll be in the UK this summer with events in Oxford and London, and that's in July, and I'm going to be doing a soiree with my sis in Oxford, and that's July 19th, and also a fabulous collaboration with my new pal Lucy in London, and her gig is called The Goddess Formula, and we're going to be doing a Well Woman Drinks event on July 17th. So if you're in that area, definitely check out wellwomanlife.com/events for more information. And this year's Superpower Retreat will be October 26th and 27th in New Mexico. So save the date and check out the website for more info. I'll be in LA in August at Podcast Movement, presenting on the virtual ticket on how to rock your remote events. So go to podcastmovement.com for more info on that. You can also join the conversation in the Well Woman Life community group at wellwomanlife.com/Facebook. Now, before I bring on my guest, as always, this episode is brought to you by Well Woman Life, a global community of women living our best lives. Whether it's your health, relationships, your money, or making an impact in your community and the world, Well Woman Life has you covered. You've made a commitment to not settle, to use your voice, and to live your best life. Well Woman Life offers annual memberships, workshops, and retreats to support you. Check out wellwomanlife.com/Facebook to join our growing community. Now back to the show. I'm speaking with Emily Bennett today. Welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Emily, I want to get started with you explaining to listeners, what are you working on and how does it impact women's lives and well-being?
My business is called Baby Blast Off, and it's a line of baby clothing that is about breaking down gender stereotypes and providing an alternative to the traditional pink and blue that you see everywhere. And I started this business after my son was born because I didn't like the gender stereotype messaging that is so common on children's clothing. And so, onesies that say things like lock up your daughters or tough guy or little guy, big attitude. I just didn't feel very comfortable putting those on my son. And so I wanted to create an alternative that would be empowering to him and to other children to feel comfortable pursuing their own authentic selves and to grow into whoever they want to be and to help them break down gender stereotype roles.
Yeah.
And I see this as really being supportive of both children and women, because I think that if we're going to change the world to make it a more equal place, really, we have to start with our children and teaching them about how we can act differently and think about the world differently. And I see clothing as a form of expression and a form of media. And as an artist, this was a perfect way for me to express my interest in that area and hope to help make the world a better place.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I want to ask you a few follow-ups based on what you've just said. And the first thing is that it's so interesting to me that there is a lot more focus now, which is great, on sort of middle school and high school girls and trying to get them interested in math and science. And I fully support those programs. But it's so interesting to me that we don't follow the thread all the way back to the beginning, which is all of the messages that they're receiving from baby and toddlerhood, which is, exactly what you were just talking about.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. When I look at onesies, I just can't believe the messages that we put on babies, and seemingly without thinking very much about that and wondering about how that impacts their lives and how people treat them, even as tiny babies.
Yeah. No, it's so true. I mean, we just are, I think we are just, society has trained us to even, to accept those things, but also to speak to our little girls and little boys differently. Yeah. I hear that a lot. I hear, "Oh, you're so cute," to the little girls, and "Oh, look how fast you are," and that was so clever, to the little boys. And so it's really about becoming much more aware of that at an earlier age.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen a shift for girls a lot. People are talking about how to talk to girls and how to encourage them in a way that is empowering. And what I think is really interesting is that we're seeing that less for boys. And I think people are less comfortable in looking at how we treat boys and less comfortable in letting them wear pink and letting them, have a wider variety of themes in the clothing they wear. So that is a huge part of my mission is to create things for boys that move away from those stereotype messages that are so strong and so deeply rooted.
Yes. So what are some of the messages you would rather little boys hear?
I would rather have them hear that they can be kind, that they can be gentle. Some of the drawings that I do, one of my most successful, I think, is of the bunny. Because a lot of boys' clothing has, animals with, fangs and sharp, claws.
Yeah.
And they're going, rawr. I want boys to have the message that they can be gentle and they could hold a soft bunny in their arms and gently take care of it. And that is part of being a boy too.
Yeah. No, I love it. So we'll definitely link to your some of your images because we can't see them on the podcast, but we'll definitely link to those in the show notes. But do you want to describe any of the other imagery or words that you include on your clothing?
Sure. I mean, some of my best sellers are the ones for girls, like the T-Rex, which I call She Rex. Which is on pink, and right now it's printed in sparkly green. People love that, and I think people are really on board with the girl messages. I've done everything from like a chemistry flask for girls, and lawnmower, a shark. And on the boys' side, it's a little bit trickier. So another one that I feel like is really successful is the toaster. Because we want to encourage our boys to be active in our households and be cooking. And so the toaster has a big star on it, and it's called All-Star Toaster. And it plays with the idea, but I think people are more comfortable with it because it doesn't go too far. And so that's a place where I'm working to play around with that and push a little bit, push us all a little bit into our discomfort, but not too far, so that the message is lost.
Right. So, Emily, your business is a few years old. You've had incredible success so far. Can you talk about the journey and, first of all, summarize sort of where you are in your business? Like, you're nationally distributing, right? And can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. I started just screen printing in my converted garage and selling things to my friends. And then there have been lots of twists and turns. I started manufacturing in 2014, and I thought I was going to do a whole line of different styles, but that kind of what really took off were the onesies. That's what gained the most traction. So now I have come back to just making a wide variety of onesies, and then going to add in kids' t-shirts. And I did a Kickstarter so I could go to a trade show in New York, and that was successful. And more than anything, that helped me to meet people and network and find out kind of what my next steps should be. And now I work with 2 sales reps, one out of San Francisco and one in Denver, and they help distribute my products into stores.
And when you say you work with 2 sales reps, what exactly do you mean? Do you contract with them, or are they on staff? Like, how does that work?
I contract with them. They go to shows, and they have a network of stores that they are connected with, and they present my products to them and help get sales that way. Okay,
and where did you meet them?
My first ones, I just cold called them. Because I knew I wanted to find reps to help me sell. So I just was searching for people and cold calling and getting lots of no response and no. And I met these folks, or I called these folks in San Francisco, and they said yes.
That's great. I think it's so important to share these nuts and bolts of how these partnerships and contracts actually happen, because women out there listening who are just like you and me, entrepreneurs, or they're in a career and and they're working on a side business, or they're thinking about a project. It's really great to hear from folks who have done it or are doing it, and exactly how these steps are taken. It's so useful.
Yeah, it's not straightforward. I would want people to know that it's so much trying this and seeing, and lots of cold calling and lots of disappointing moments and it's a big challenge to keep going through those times when you feel like, oh, nothing is coming through.
Right. And so I interrupted you. So you got a couple sales reps, and then do you want to continue?
Oh, from there they've been selling, and it's slowly growing. It hasn't been a huge like kind of thing, but I feel like I'm working on it, honing the message, and it's continuing to grow, and that's where I am today. There's lots of potential, but it's certainly not, quote, there yet.
Right.
By any means.
Yeah, it's a constant journey, right? So which are you in actual stores? Like, do you have shelf space? Like, how are you selling your stuff?
Yeah, I sell wholesale to stores, boutiques. For example, in Seattle, you could go to the store and see my onesies on their, hangers in that store. In places in San Francisco and LA. I also sell online, and I sell locally in Albuquerque at the farmers market, which is also fabulous.
Oh, great. Okay. And so, yeah, you were talking just a minute ago about the process and just how important it is to stick with the journey. And even when it's feeling like nothing is happening, you're hitting a wall, what is it that helps you keep going in those moments?
It helps me to keep going, to find something to do, some reason to hope, I guess.
So taking action.
Yeah, if I'm stuck or something isn't working, I try to go back to, okay, what steps can I take today? What can I do to feel productive today to help move myself forward? And sometimes it really helps me to connect with my mentors and other business friends and just say, hey, I'm really in this rut, and just have some personal connection, because I work alone a lot. And I think that can be a real struggle for solopreneurs.
Yeah.
So
I also
remembering to reach out to people who help you and say, help me, I'm struggling.
Right.
What should I do next? Or just let's have coffee.
But in order to do that requires some vulnerability, right? Some sort of letting your guard down and saying, I need help. This isn't going well. And I think that's hard for women who are wanting to show that they are successful and wanting to be successful. So has that been a challenge?
Absolutely. You have to open yourself up and be raw and, let people say what they're going to say. It's a huge risk, and the payoff to letting people in, I think, is tremendous and well worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Emily, can you describe a time in your own life when you weren't putting yourself first? Maybe you weren't taking care of yourself the way you probably now know you need to in order to do all of this. You're a mom, you're an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that?
Sure. I juggle a lot of things, as we do as women and moms, and getting my kids signed up for classes and picking them up and making lunches and all the things that we do. And so it's really hard sometimes to carve out time just to work on my business. And at the beginning of this year, I was feeling in my guts, that sort of resentful feeling, like, oh, I just don't have enough time to do what I want to do. And it took some courage for me to talk with my family and say, I need more time. And so we worked out for my daughter to actually go to preschool more. And she started doing that, and that opened up for me a lot of space, and that feeling of resentment kind of melted away. And so it was really scary to kind of admit that was going on with me. But once I did, it really helped me to loosen and to get what I needed and take care of myself.
Yeah, and I know that kind of conversation because I've had it. It is hard because on the one hand, you want to be a 100+% for your kids, and there's always that question of, is this right for my kids? Is this what we need to be doing? And on the other hand, it's if we don't do this, I can't pursue my business, or I can't go to the next level or whatever it is. So was that a difficult transition?
Yeah, I think I struggle with it all the time. What is best for my kids? What, could I be doing more? I think as women, we have a lot of pressure from society, and we put on ourselves too, to be, super mom and be super entrepreneur and, do all the things and exercise every single day. I don't have any answers. It's a constant struggle.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you also, you talk about gender stereotypes with children, of course, that you're addressing in your business with your clothing line. Have you experienced gender stereotypes in business, and how has that been, and how have you overcome that?
Yeah, as a woman business person, I just feel more comfortable when I'm working with other women, and I do my best to surround myself with other women entrepreneurs because other women get it. They get what you're going through as a mom, and there was on the news that gentleman who was interviewed for the BBC or something, and then his kids came in the background, Skype thing. That is my life.
I know.
And other women, when they hear your kid go, "Mom, I need a snack," it feels less like a bad thing. It feels like they get it. And so I don't know. I don't think I've sort of figured out how to manage that, except for trying to associate myself with women and people who support, what I'm doing, and understand that you've got lots of things going on.
Yeah. Now it's time for our segment called Superpowers for Success. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. Being a well woman includes being financially healthy. Our sponsors, Lorraine L. and Kate Stalter of Better Money Decisions, are on a mission to eliminate complexity and confusion from your financial life. They replace Wall Street jargon with straightforward talk you can understand, and they create investment and retirement plans customized for your needs and your future. Download a free copy of their latest book, Don't Let Your Money Kick the Bucket Before You Do, and learn how to avoid the biggest mistakes women make when planning for retirement. Go to bettermoneyDecisions.com/wellwoman and download your free book today. I want to ask you a few quick questions. The first one is, what does success in life mean to you?
A successful life to me looks like having a giant web of community, and from your family close to you to friends, and having all of these connections that enrich your life. I think successful life would look like, wherever you go, if you're in the airport in London, you run into somebody and have a chance to connect with them, or you walk down the street by your house and you see a neighbor and you get the chance to connect with them. I think that is success. Another part, though, I think of a successful life is having something to work on that is really meaningful, is really purposeful work, is what I wanted to say. When you have a chance to engage in purposeful work, I feel like that is happiness.
Did you have to make a decision at some point when you started your business that you could only do purposeful work? Because clearly your business is purposeful. Did you have to give something else up in order to pursue this?
Well, having a stable income.
Yeah.
And that could be a big thing. I had to give up that, and I had to give up a sense of sort of like safeness, I think. Our families and friends, I think, often want us to be safe. They want us to pursue a life that leads to, us being taken care of, which is out of love. And having to challenge that is like letting something go, like saying to the people you love, I'm stepping into the space of sort of less safeness, and can we still all be okay with that?
Right. Well, and just to dig into that a little deeper, how risky was it? Because there's risk in stepping into a less safe place. And then there's true risk where you literally, may like lose your home or something. So like, where were you on the spectrum?
I mean, it's not super risky for me personally. But I think, for other people, for instance, parents, want you to save for retirement, things like that.
Right. Yeah, understood. I think a lot of that is mindset, sort of thinking. You can think your way into a really scary place, right?
Absolutely.
Or you can think your way out of it too and say, here are the facts of the situation. We're going to be okay. Yeah, we might not save as much for retirement in the next couple of years while I build my business, but that's okay. And so defining sort of what's okay and what feels safe for you, I think, is a key part of it.
Yeah, so important.
Well, Emily, the next question is when did you know you were really good at what you do?
Recently somebody said to me, it's such a pleasure to work with you. And I think that felt like a moment when I felt like, oh, I'm good at this. This person feels really comfortable working with me. And we've established a great working relationship.
So this is so interesting because I ask this question to everybody I interview, and a lot of people's answers revolve around external, something external. So like someone telling them, something, which is, expected in a lot of ways. That's how we operate as people and as women. We definitely rely on those external validations for who we are and how valuable we are and whether we're good at something. But was there ever a time when internally you thought, I've just really got this. I just know in my gut, in my heart that I'm good at this and I'm going to do this?
I don't know. I think it's something I struggle with every day.
Yeah. Don't we all?
I think I have moments of feeling that way because it's still, still really in the thick of the journey. I have moments when I'm working on a new drawing and it comes together and it looks awesome, according to me. And I feel like, wow, I am awesome. I just made an awesome drawing and I'm all by myself in this room and nobody said anything.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. And then what superpower did you discover you had only to realize it was there all the time?
My drawing, speaking of.
Yeah.
I think I, as a small child, I always loved to draw, and I told my parents I wanted to be a cartoonist when I grew up. And I kind of went another direction for a while and, thought I wasn't going to do this. And recently I've, had more of those moments like I just described, being like, wow, I'm good at this. It feels like, yeah, I am an artist, and I have been my entire life.
Cool. Okay. And then can you describe a personal habit that contributes to your well-being?
Sure. Well, I go to bed every night at 9. I think that helps me. I try to do, as soon as my kids are in bed, I try to start my own routine for going to sleep. I'm not a night person, and sleep is so important to my own well-being. So I really try to be in bed as soon as possible so that I can get enough shut-eye for myself.
And so does that also mean that you wake up early?
No. I mean, I get up with my kids to get them ready, but I'm not up at the crack of dawn either. No, I need a good solid, 8-9 hours of sleep to be at my best.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And Emily, what advice would you give your younger self, say 10 or 15 years ago?
I wish that I would tell myself to relax. I think I would tell myself that now too. That, when you're young, when I was younger, I felt a lot of pressure to have a job that provided insurance and all the things, to really be set, quote unquote. And, I look back on that time and I think, wow, I was so free in some ways. I wasn't married. I didn't have kids yet. I could have spent so much time working on artwork. But at that time, I wasn't feeling that way because I was feeling really anxious about being settled and being okay in that way. And so I think I would tell myself to just, relax. You're going to be okay. And you have so much time now to spend exploring things. Go explore.
That's great advice. And then do you identify as a feminist, Emily?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you want to say anything else?
From my choice of business, I think it's pretty clear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it so important to you that we have that feminism is strong?
I think we would all benefit from a world that is more equal, not just women, but men too. And I think that I don't think that going the other direction is going to create more peace or caring in the world.
Yeah. And I just want to pick up on, the conversation earlier we had about your clothing line and specifically the messages for boys. If we look at that, in the adult life, in the adult world, it's clear that men, there are male feminists, obviously. We have a lot of them. But a lot of men do not consider themselves feminists. And what would you say about that in terms of what you're trying to do with small children and how that translates to the adult world?
I think that it's hard to change adult minds. I think that starting with children is how we change the world, and teaching our young sons about equality and about privilege and about caring and kindness, and allowing space for them to feel their feelings and support them in doing that, and giving them words for talking about their feelings. These are all things we can do right now for our young sons that I think will translate into, grown men who may think about the world differently.
Yeah. Okay, Emily, last question. What are you reading right now? What's on your nightstand?
I just finished reading True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. And it was for my book group. Such a fabulous, interesting, devastating book. Are you familiar with Sherman Alexie?
Yes. Yeah, but I haven't read that book.
I would really recommend it. It will make you cry and it will make you laugh. It's about a Native teen living on the Spokane reservation, and it's partly autobiographical, not entirely, for Sherman Alexie. And then this teen chooses to go to school off the reservation, and it discusses all of the challenges that come with that. And but it's just so funny.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. Okay, well, we'll definitely link to that in the show notes for people who want to follow up and read what you're reading. And Emily, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you.
That's it for our show today. Remember, if you need support to live your Well Woman life, head over to wellwomanlife.com/Facebook to join us. Our monthly live event, Well Woman Drinks, brings women together to share our successes and challenges as women, leaders, moms, aunts, sisters, and all the other roles we carry. If you'd like to attend a Well Woman Drinks near you, or if there isn't one in your city yet and you'd like to start one, email info@wellwomanlife.com. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment and subscribe in iTunes and leave a review. This helps raise visibility, which is super helpful when it comes to producing the show every week. For feedback, comments, or just to let me know you were listening today, find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @WellWomanLife. I'm Giovanna Rossi for The Well Woman Show. Until next time, have a super powerful week.